Well, that was interesting.
Maybe I can get him to talk.
He's gonna go on a rampage.
We made a promise. Someday we was gonna make it big.
So Capone is a new biographical crime drama written, directed, and edited by Josh Trank and also starring Tom Hardy as Al Capone. And in Capone, as you could probably imagine, we follow Al Capone as he is living his final year in Florida suffering from syphilis and dementia, and because of this, he is starting to experience these hallucinations because of his past life. All while at the same time, the FBI is conducting an investigation into which they believe that Al Capone has allegedly hid $10 million somewhere. Alrighty guys, so let's get into Capone. Capone was a movie that I was interested in for a couple of reasons, one of them being because of Tom Hardy acting as Al Capone, and I think that Tom Hardy is one of the greatest actors living today. Another reason being because of Josh Trank. Now, this is what I think of Josh Trank. I absolutely love Chronicle. In fact, it's my favorite found footage movie of all time. But when it comes to Fantastic Four, or Fanforstic as many people call it, that's not a good movie at all, but I really don't blame that on Josh Trank at all, actually. And the other reason being that this isn't your typical gangster flick. What this movie really is about is showing the deterioration of America's most notorious gangster who ever lived. Then I started to hear the mixed reviews and I started to think, well, maybe Josh Trank is a one-hit wonder with Chronicle, but then I watched Capone and I gotta tell you guys, I enjoyed it. First of all, starting off with the performances, everyone here in this movie does a really good job in their roles, but the main two standouts of this movie, for me anyways, were Linda Cardellini and of course, Tom Hardy as Al Capone. Linda Cardellini does such a great job of not only playing the wife of Al Capone, but at the same time, she really does do such a great job in this role of playing this wife who really can do the most that she can while she is watching her husband deteriorating, especially with his mental condition right in front of her eyes. But you can just see the pain in her eyes as she is just trying to comfort her husband the best way that she can, but you can just see in her eyes just thinking, yeah, my husband's going. But obviously, the main reason why we're here is because of Tom Hardy as Al Capone, to which I gotta say, Tom Hardy goes all in this movie. And when I mean he goes all in, I mean he goes all in, easily giving probably the most fascinating performance I have seen in his career, especially with that voice he was doing. Now, I don't know if he was inspired by Nick Nolte, but I will say this, I feel like that the voice works for the most part, but I really do have to commend Tom Hardy for doing something different with his career. But really, other than that, I thought that Tom Hardy did an excellent job of playing Al Capone in his later years, showing the deterioration, not only really his physical state, because you really do see that, in more ways than you would probably would like, but also going into the deterioration of his mental state, going into some really weird scenes to say the least. One particular thing that I really liked about Capone was that this movie, like I mentioned before, is not your typical gangster movie. Capone isn't a gangster movie like Black Mass, Scarface, or The Irishman, well, at least until the last half hour of this movie. But what Capone really is that it's a character study as we're watching this notorious gangster, arguably the most notorious gangster who ever lived, and the last year of his life as he is suffering from these diseases while he is going through these hallucinations of his past life. And honest to God, this was something that I actually thought was quite refreshing when it comes to the gangster genre. Also, something else I liked about Capone, and this is something that I think is going to be polarized amongst everyone, but this is a movie that's weird. And when I mean weird, I mean this is like David Lynch weird. The best way that I can describe Capone is like this. Imagine combining the works of David Lynch like along the lines of Twin Peaks, and imagine that with The Shining, and that's the best way that I could describe Capone. It's definitely a very weird combination, but it was a combination that I found myself enjoying more than I disliked. Another thing that I liked about Capone as well was how this film was edited. Now, like I mentioned beforehand, Josh Trank edited the film, and I gotta say, I'm really happy that Josh Trank was able to show his complete vision of this film, to which I want to say Josh Trank congrats, seriously on that. But something that I particularly liked about the editing of Capone was since that Al Capone in his final year of life suffered from dementia, what I really liked is that the way how Josh Trank edited this film, it makes it seem like that you are going through this mental deterioration along with Al Capone himself, and I thought that Josh Trank did a really good job with that. Did I like Capone? Yes. But do I think it could have been a better film? Yes. One thing that I mentioned beforehand, and I'm going to bring it up here once again, and that's with Tom Hardy. Now, I did say that I did like Tom Hardy a lot in this movie. In fact, I thought he was excellent for the most part, especially when it came to that voice that he does. But I'm not going to lie to you guys, there are more than a couple of times when that voice did have me kind of laughing. Now, I'll say this once again. I don't know if Tom Hardy got the inspiration of that voice from Nick Nolte, and it does work for the most part, but then there are other times where I just thought, dude, what are you doing? But there is this scene halfway through the film where Tom Hardy is screaming, and when it shows the camera on him doing this voice, I couldn't help but laugh. Something else that I will say that I wasn't really a fan of here and there was the film's pacing, particularly in the first 20 minutes. The first 20 minutes are such a drag if you ask me. But then even after the first 20 minutes, there are just a couple of sequences into which they do drag on just a little too long. Now, something else that I do want to add on, and this isn't a particular flaw on my end, but I can definitely see others being disgusted by this, but like I mentioned beforehand, in Capone, not only do we see the mental deterioration of Al Capone, but also the physical deterioration in more ways than one. There are a couple of parts of the film into which, I'm not gonna lie, Tom Hardy shits himself. He does. And I've seen a lot of people saying it's disgusting, and honestly, I didn't find it that disgusting because I've seen it far worse and other things. I have seen others say that, so I can see others saying that. With the whole physical deterioration of Al Capone, this is something I could see others not liking, but the film is very weird. Now, I did quite like that the film does go for that weirdness, and it is kind of batshit crazy to that extent. But I can see others not liking it because of that. And if I were to say one more thing, there were one or two scenes to which I was kind of bored, but that's really it. So overall, Capone is a weird film, yet at the same time, it's a very fascinating film that takes you into this very interesting journey showing you the mental deterioration of arguably America's most notorious gangster ever lived, especially with a one-of-a-kind performance from Tom Hardy. All in all, I dug Capone, so I'm going to give Capone a 3 out of 5 stars. Capone is a very weird film, but at the same time, like I mentioned beforehand, I found it a very fascinating film, but at the same time, this is definitely going to be something that divides a lot of people, but I'm on the side that liked Capone. Alright guys, so comment down and let me know below, what is your favorite gangster film of all time? I know a lot of you are going to say Scarface, so besides Scarface, what is your favorite gangster film of all time? Let me know below. To be fair though, mine is Scarface. Yeah, see right there. If you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I'm also on Snapchat and Stardust. So if you guys want to follow me on all those social media platforms, all the links and the usernames are in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Capone. If so, please hit that like button, also subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell whenever a new video of mine goes live. If you guys want to see any of my previous 2 reviews, please click either right there or there. And of course, until my next review or video, I will see you all next time.